Hey, with Ray, hello, my friends. Well, I'm here with the Xerox folks at this big Print United festival down here in Atlanta. And folks, I got to tell you something. You know, when you go by the Xerox booth, I don't think I've ever seen less than 100 people in it. So kudos to that. You know, Xerox, an iconic company, 100 years old, well recognized in the industry of print, especially in the heavy end production print. They're known for it. They're good at it, and it's nice to see the customer appreciation over all those years. Today I'm sitting here with Andrew, and Andrew heads up global marketing.
Yep, global product marketing for Xerox in the production space. Yep.
And Terry over here is the product portfolio manager. I just want to talk to him a little bit. You know, recently Xerox had decided to pull out of the Drupa show. And I actually did an episode on that, sharing my reasons why I thought it was probably a good idea for them to do it. But one of the comments I got in that video from a couple of different analysts, or whatever you want to call them in the marketplace, was that, well, it's probably a good thing because, you know, Xerox got an old product portfolio. You know, they need some innovation. So, you know, let me just shift it right over to the product portfolio guy. Let's answer that
Just
question.
happens to be here.
Yeah, so, you know, where is Xerox at in the product portfolio? And, you know, what do you see coming that would get maybe the naysayers, if you will? Everybody has naysayers. I got my fair share of them. So, you know, what do you see coming and what's going on with Xerox?
Yeah, so we're definitely not investing. So we're clearly investing in production as well as in our office space. You know, maybe I'll first address the whole Drupa thing and then get into where we're heading. So the Drupa thing actually had nothing to do with Drupa itself, right? It was all about what we've been learning through multiple direct contacts with our customer base, that having an intimate conversation with our customers in a smaller venue that's more localized really enables a much richer, deeper conversation that we can have. We can explore where are we heading with the portfolio. We can start to expose what's coming down the pipeline 6, 12 months down the road. Instead of sitting at a large event where you spend upwards of 8 to 10 million to go to, where you might have a competitor standing over your shoulder, right? Or they're hearing a story down at another booth, come over and they're sharing information. So we found that it was a much better approach for us to have direct conversations with our customers and potential customers, and really give us an opportunity to have more of a thought leadership approach, do training sessions, talk about the future, where's the industry going, what are your needs, how do we help deliver your success. So, you know, this was not a financial decision, it was more about how do we better engage with our customers. As far as the portfolio, we continue to invest in the portfolio. I've heard all the rumors, we're going out of business, or we're not investing in production, or completely not true. We continue to invest in the future, big investments in inkjet. Also investing mostly around the ecosystem that resides around the press. I mean, you walk around here at Print United, you can see a whole lot of vendors with pretty prints, right? And we're trying to address the overall effectiveness of that print. How do we take cost out of the business, right? We've had some studies done that said for every dollar of print production that's sellable, there tends to be another $3 to $5 worth of overhead to produce that print. So how do we attack those costs, especially given all the macroeconomic trends that are hitting everyone, aging workforce, etc. So how do we help our clients better address the operations and the effectiveness of the equipment that they have? So big investments on the software side through FreeFlow Core, FreeFlow Vision, which we have out there. We're also doing a little bit of NDA sessions here, even though we're at a big show.
Sure.
You know, so that's really where we're heading. We're going to continue to innovate and invent in the space, and much more to come.
Well, I'm sure we'll see Xerox around another 100 years, and I know that Steven's got his hands full. He's transitioning. He's turning a big ship. You know, I like a lot of the things that you guys are doing. Obviously, I've talked a lot about that on the show, but you know, Xerox is an icon. You know, I mean, they're you think about print, you think about business print, and especially in the production side. I mean, at the end of the day, when production really became available in the marketplace, you know, Xerox just owned that space.
Yep, that's right.
I mean, they owned the space to a point where they really weren't that big in the business side. It was like, let somebody else do that. And then as technology changed, and we kind of evolved. From a marketing standpoint, you know, going off of what Terry was saying, do you see Xerox doing more like regional events where dealers, if you will, that are selling your production gear can bring in customers?
Yeah,
I
think it's going to be some and some, right? So we've got great facilities, whether it's the Gilhat Center in Rochester, the IC in Uxbridge, UK, looking to do that. But also, we talk about enriched customer and client experiences. So, leading, not following, creating our own narrative. I mean, people for years, as you know, have been trying to tell the Xerox story. They don't get to do that. We do. So we want to be able to do that, and we do think that having those intimate experiences, at whether it's the stadium events that we do right behind us at Mercedes-Benz Dome, or another events that we're planning in early spring for EMEA, again in Americas. So we want to be able to do those dealer meetings where we do have them, at a regional level, but also, we want to have some bigger macro type events where we do show, entire markets, not just dealer, but also direct, GC implant that we're there to service them, and here's how we do it. When we're dealing with things like there's so many buzzwords that get thrown out here, AI, automation, heck, even some of the embellishment stuff, it's, there's a half a dozen words used to describe that. We need to have settings that we can make sure that clients understand what it is that we're doing, so that when they bring it in, as Terry alluded to, he talked a lot about, taking hands off that job. So how do we get, your print's going to cost you $1, but how do we add value to that? So, it's going to give you more value, it's going to take hands off the job, and it's going to go deliver more impact and profit to our customers. So we want to be able to do that from a marketing perspective. And I think things like AI, which you saw, you can touch on.
Pretty amazing.
It's sometimes not the glamorous things like that. A whole AI thing is going to help make the customer break fix user experience much better than it was before, where you pick up a phone, you wait 4 hours for the technician to hopefully show up on time with a part. Well, what if now we knew that predictively, or generatively AI, we know that before that happens, it's on its way, the part's on its way to be installed, or maybe even you can do it. So I think you have to have the right environments, like as Terry said, those intimate environments to have those conversations. And we think that it's important to not do it in bigger events. And bigger events are important. We're here at Printing United, great show, fantastic show. But we do have to have the right atmosphere, that we can create the narrative that our clients will understand, and they can take it away in a meaningful way and apply it back into their business.
Terry, you mentioned ink, ink technology, and we see a lot of the players getting into the ink technology in the space. Interesting. But where do you see Xerox taking that ink technology? There's another OEM that I talked to, and I want hey, we're going to bring that into the business space. So do you see Xerox bringing ink into the business space with the product portfolio?
At this point, I don't think we're going to push ink down into the business space. We did make a foray into ink at one point with Solid Ink, as you know. But right now, we're really investing in toner-based platforms within the office. And where we're mostly investing within the office space, the workplace, is again around that ecosystem of the solution. I mean, oftentimes, as a matter of fact, I was just at a booth not too far down the way here. They were still talking about speeds and feeds. And look at this nice print that you can get, and I can copy this. It's like the industry and our client base has moved on from that. And they see the value in the solutions that we're applying to our devices, whether it's as simple as a cloud connector, or more complex with a auto redaction, or converting into an audio files, so you can consume that content on the road. So that's primarily where we're placing our big bets within the office space. Similarly, on the production side, we talked about AI, we talked about predictive analytics.
But also translation services, right, Terry, when it comes to Workflow Central.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interject, but some of the tools that Terry comes out with, on the workplace side, actually translate over into the GC print for pay side, like translation services. I mean, where you can do it for pennies on the dollar, which before, translate a document into French, English, Italian, German, Spanish, whatever, it cost you $10,000 to get it done. So now you can do it with drag and drop workflows, again, for pennies on the dollar, and it brings more value. So Xerox is really opening up, the kimono, so to speak, on yes, going downstream, but also taking the stuff that's on that side and bringing it upstream to make it more of an effective offering on the production side. So, that's what I know.
Well, I talked to the gentleman that heads up here, the AI's product.
Yep.
And one of the things that I think is interesting about Xerox in their AI, I think it's probably safe to say that Xerox probably has the largest production print myth as a company.
I think it's safe to say.
Yeah, I would say that. I mean, you guys were there in the beginning of it.
Terry's modest, but yeah.
Yeah.
I'd say-
Well, if I'm thinking, I think you said he had 5 or 6 million myth. So of that, how much of that is in the production space? But the data from that has to be so rich.
Yep.
And with where everybody's another buzzword
Yeah.
is the AI thing.
Yeah.
But what does AI really mean? How are you going to use it? More importantly, how do I make
Right.
money from AI?
Yep.
Or how do I cut costs from AI? And I think that's probably a pretty interesting component when I could go to a major print house and have really good predictive analytics based on this myth that could be 3 or 4 million devices.
Yeah.
And all this gathering and stuff. So
Yeah, there's a lot of data out there, as you know, with the emergence of variable data printing. But with that, we also found there's a lot of bad data, right? So I think that what the AI does, whether it's generative or predictive, I think it helps you cut through that clutter that, frankly, these two things we call human intervention just simply can't do, right? So yeah.
So from a global marketing perspective, what's on the horizon to get the message out about Xerox and we're in this digital transformation and
Yeah.
how are you approaching all that? Because I'm looking out here and for instance I saw a booth drop down that we used to have and they were made out of paper. You'd go to the printer and they print it off, and now I'm looking at it's all digital.
Yeah.
So
Well-
you have this very bizarre shift.
Yeah.
Ink technology is allowing you to print on things that were unimaginable just a few short years ago. So what is Xerox's goal with it?
Well, let's take the question and kind of
Yeah.
come back to it, but go in a different direction. 20 years ago, digital transformation in print meant what? Decommissioning a press, taking jobs off your offset, and moving it downstream. It's much more advanced than that now, as you know. And even 10 years ago, you'd come into a booth and everybody would be focused around the pretty pictures that were coming off the ends of the devices, which again, don't get me wrong, I love. That's what we do.
Sure.
But you're at a time now where if you notice all the workflow stations, the AI stations, there's more people huddled up around the workflow stations than there is actually the hardware. And that's something that before it was just, workflow was a buzzword that you'd skate past. So now, Terry's talking about there's labor shortages. People aren't coming out of, a skilled pressman school anymore. That's your graphic designer. That's your pre-press person, right? As Terry was mentioning. Yeah. So you don't see that. So it's a complicated question. So when we talk about digital transformations, we talk about we've got our digital devices that can print amazing things, but you've got this sort of protective economic moat, whether it's pre-press workflow, variable data, e-commerce solutions with XMPie, artificial intelligence for solving for break-fix issues that you talked to Steve about. So that's the part that we're really focusing on, is that production ecosystem and making sure that the most important piece of that, right, is the Xerox. It's our bedrock. It's our infrastructure, service support, level 1, 2, 3 remote. All of those great things. Customers coming in, file test, media test. So that's the part that that's the unsung hero. As far as futures are going, we're going to continue. We're going to finish, first of all, we're going to finish the year strong. Sure. Right. We've got to get out there with our existing portfolio. But as Terry talked about, we're going to continue to make those investments. As Terry will, frankly, he cooks and plates the food, and I get to market it and serve it up to our fantastic clients. So we're going to continue to bring out amazing products in the spaces that we play. But obviously, we want to get better, more productive, more press availability. We're going to continue on this path for years and years to come. So I feel very confident. I know I can't fully disclose all those things that are coming, but 2024 is going to be an exciting year, I think.
It'll be exciting. Yeah.
Well, any secrets you could tell us?
Can't tell you secrets.
Okay. You got to ask.
Sorry.
Like the new product coming out in the first quarter, second.
Just
We'll do this. We'll do this again.
Coming soon.
We'll do this again.
Well, you said something, and I'll kind of wrap it up with this, that, I think that quality and great quality in the image itself is a permission to show up in the space.
Yep.
Everybody
That's a
expects
good way to
it.
put it.
It's not a given. It is a given. They wouldn't even be in your booth. So I think they trust that level, and it really is going to be about what's on that back end, the infrastructure. How do you help a customer navigate?
Yeah.
Through lots on the pike. But it's always exciting to talk to Xerox. You guys have anything you want to add before we end this?
Well, I think it was a great session. Appreciate your time, Ray. Thank you.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, Xerox, been around 100 years. They're going to be around 100 more, and everybody watching me knows this. Status quo is the killer of all that'll be invented. Don't get stuck in status quo, and I'll see you all tomorrow.